Thanks for joining in and just sharing my screen. So today's session will be really about, with all the scams going around, essentially looking at, how we can pretty much invest a little more safely, right? Save a little bit of money. Don't not lose too much money on the wrong kind of profiles, wrong kind of investments, and really look at that, right? So thanks again for joining. I think for those of you who could not join, I'll try and record it. I'm recording it and I'll share it with you probably after that. So especially for those who invested in my coin for this session, right? So I'll do that. So thanks once again for your support so far. And just quickly what I was going to cover. And again, probably I'll take the questions from the audience towards the last few minutes. So essentially first look at what are the kind of scam slash fake profiles. I mean, these days we're getting a lot of bots. How do you identify them? And obviously at this stage there's no automated solution that I am aware of, but essentially what you need to do and how to identify them and what to do with them. The next thing is in terms of people, I think there are various ways you can actually go wrong. So obviously looking at that, looking at the right people and what is the right strategy to invest in the right people and the right artists or the right creators in a sense, right? And then the third thing is just in terms of projects. Obviously BitClout is at a very early stage, so it's more about a lot of development that's going on, a lot of projects being launched. So in the process there are also a lot of projects being launched without actually significant value being created, right? So just some thumb rules that I use personally. I mean, this may or may not apply to you, but just some thumb rules I use that I wanted to share. And then lastly, I'll just go into probably some of the tools that I use for looking at investments, looking at what to do, what not to do, and then take it forward from there. So starting off in terms of profiles, these are some simple rules, and I have posted it on my profile as well. So if you go to my profile, I think I did post pretty much a quick summary of these. There are a few more rules that I'll talk about, but essentially these are the rules that I've already posted. So it is available. So I'll just talk in a little bit more detail on that. So the first thing, obviously, if there's there's not too much information on the profile description, or there's no social media links, or another probably new rule is, if you go to, if there is a social media profile, if you can find an equivalent social media profile on Twitter, there's a lot of people just copying the description from there and just trying to pretend that it's some celebrity or something like that, right? So these are probably the quick checks you need to do. And the way I look at it is, instead of doing 50 investments a week, probably do 5 big investments in a week, right? So just apply a bit more due diligence and then do those 5-6 investments a week. Do a bit, slightly larger investment, but do 5 or 6 is what I would recommend. Or just in a sense, whatever your numbers, but reduce the numbers and focus more on quality than quantity, right? So do a bit of checks before investing. Don't fall for the, oh, if I don't invest now, I will, lose out on this great opportunity kind of thing. And if it is such a great opportunity, you probably would not even be getting it, right? That's the way I look at it, at least, right? And then obviously with all these bots, the big thing that's happening over the last few days, there's I mean, you typically will see they're following 500 people, 1,000 people, and only one person following them back, right? So this is a scam that they're doing, where they'll just follow 1,000 people and then they're hoping that 15, 20, 100 people, 20 people, 35 people will follow, and then they maybe unfollow it, right? So that's where I would say, obviously don't follow them back, because you're just facilitating the scams. I typically just block them. But again, even blocking them is becoming a pain, because there's so many of them. So at some stage, I'm hoping somebody will build a tool which will automatically block them, or even better, the BitClout node developers itself figure out a way to restrict. Like in Twitter, I think if you follow a certain number of people, then the restrictions, right? So I think it's fairly simple to do. I mean, especially once you go above a certain number, just stop people from following, right? Or just maybe restrict the number of followers to a certain day, or certain number per day, or something like that. I think it's fairly straightforward to do. I hope they take that on. I'll probably try and give that as a suggestion pretty soon. But I think there definitely needs to be something, because while first of all, there was no engagement today, I think you're really having people literally sit and spend time blocking bots, right? So it's not really the best experience. And if you want to give a good experience to users, we do need to do something about it, right? So, and with all of these bots and even with others, I would say definitely stay away from very, very low coin price, less than $1, less than $2, less than $10. Do stay away from them as much as possible, because a lot of these scammers are really trying to do this in mass scale, right? So they'll have $10 and they want to create 100 profiles. So they'll put $0.1 per profile. So you'll get a very, very low coin price. So if it is below that, I would say, yeah, don't even look at them. Don't even look at them. Don't spend time on them. Definitely don't spend your money on them. And then obviously, because it's typically one or two people doing it, even if you see an investor, you'll probably see that there's only one standard per person coming in. You can, if you really want to get into who's doing this, you can go into some of the tools I'll talk about later and almost identify who's the person doing it. That's the beauty of the open blockchain, and you actually can get into and find out who is doing it. In the sense of which profile is doing it, obviously you won't know who exactly is doing it, but you can actually identify and sometimes you can get to the main person also, right? So, but again, if there's a similar profile coming up, it's something to be careful about. And again, something they've started doing more recently, responding only with emojis and smileys and stuff. So if they're doing that, obviously don't respond, don't follow, don't like, and don't support them in any way. One second. The only thing I worry about is I'm on full screen and somebody joins in and is waiting to get admitted. Anyway, so since it's being recorded, I'm hoping it's fine. So, and then obviously the other thing that they typically do is they respond, and the response are usually out of context. They say good, or great work or something like that for anything and everything that you post. Then they typically don't have too many posts, or the biggest issue that with quite a few of these scam profiles, they post themselves as artists and really post standard images from somebody else's profile, or some canned image from internet. They just copy those and post them as though it's their own, right? So if you really are going to put in significant money or any kind of money, depending on your wallet, I would say do a quick reverse image search of those images. More often than not, you'll find a similar image, which is there available online with these scam profiles, obviously, right? So do your due diligence and try and while most of these apply to the bots, the slight variation of this would still apply to the scam profiles also, right? So look for especially the newer profiles. Look for who are the kind of investors. Does the artist or does the creator have enough of their coin, right? So definitely look for things like that. And even, my own thumb rule is if it's less than $10, I typically don't invest, because it means that the creator is not invested enough, or somebody else is invested but not invested enough and stuff. So I think you can apply your own thumb rules there, but in a sense, be wary about investing in anyone with a very, very low coin price, because while the attraction is there to invest a lot and make money on the bonding curve and everything, you will, in the long run, you'll probably lose more money than make money, right? So that's where I think it's something that it's a kind of a risk reward thing that you'll need to weigh and look at and then assess and take it forward from there. So then the next thing I was going to talk about, so I think this is something I've lost a lot of money to. They come in and make these, crazy promises. I'm going to put in $500 tomorrow. I'm going to put in $1,000 in a week. And, I'm going to put $1,000 in a couple of hours, right? So everybody do the math and say, okay, great. If I put in $50 now, I'll get $100 in an hour. And they go in and buy, and invariably after 20 people have put $50, the person just takes in the $1,000 and just walks out, right? And there's been enough and more of these. For those people who are joining new, they've probably not seen enough of it, but through the entire 3-4 months that I've been here, there's been enough of these, and they kind of keep repeating themselves over and over again. So you'll probably see them again coming through. Anything that sounds too good to be true, I would say, is probably too good to be true, right? So don't fall for it. If especially if you're putting in a significant amount of money, look at the track record of those people on the cap table, the top 2-3 people on the creator coin. Definitely look for them, and if they are people, just go look at their, again, I'll show you some of the tools. One popular one is something called Signal Cloud. Go to Signal Cloud, look at the wallet of that person, and look at what kind of trades he's doing, right? Is he someone who's buying and then, holding, or is he buying and then selling within 1 hour? If he's buying and selling within 1 hour, either he has insider information, or he's really, really good, which is more unlikely. So in all likelihood, he's probably one of those people who's colluding with the creator and making money, right? So in that sense, you're always going to be at a disadvantage. So there's someone like that on the coin. I would say, even if the creator looks great, don't invest, right? So maybe, or you invest maybe like $1 or $2 or whatever, or just stay in touch with the creator. There's other ways of supporting beyond just investing, right? You like them, you retweet them, you follow them. There's other ways you can support, you diamond them. There's other ways you can support a creator than just buying them. So look at other ways of doing that, right? So, but don't invest in the coin if there's any such issues that are happening, right? And having said all this, obviously the big way to make money in BitClout is to invest early. But then I would say invest early in people that you know, right? People that you are onboarding yourself, or you know somebody who's onboarding them, right? So you invest early in those profiles, and that's where I think you can make the most in terms of returns and stuff. So that's definitely the right way to do it, and that's where I think the best people who made the most money on BitClout are those who've invested early. Because I think if you don't do that, I think you will end up with losing money on some of these scams. And in general, the returns will be there in the long run, because essentially if you're investing in good creators, over time they will grow, over time they'll get recognized and they'll grow. So these are two styles of doing. One is obviously if you're into making quick money, invest early. Once it goes up to a certain number, then maybe you start booking your profits or whatever. I think that's I would say, foolproof way to make money on BitClout. The second foolproof way is obviously you launch your own projects, right? So again, you get the benefit of the bonding curve and everything. So you invest, in those projects, and then kind of bring in people and stuff like that. And the third thing is obviously you invest in projects of friends and family, right? So if you know somebody who's launching a project, try and see if you can get early on those projects and stuff. I think that's probably the thumb rule of making money here. But again, while avoiding all the scams is important, identifying a few big opportunities you can get into is also important, right? And in terms of projects, the one thing that I apply as a very hard and fast rule is knowing that there's a team that has delivered or is capable of delivering, right? So some kind of background check. I mean, think of it as, if you're an angel investor, which really this is about, right? So if you're an angel investor, would you invest in a project without knowing who's executing on it? That's the way I look at it. So definitely when it comes to projects, if there's no founder or there's no team announced, I would be wary of it. And even if it is a project but not a product, right? So the difference I'm saying is product is more like a tool or something like that. A project could be like, I have a project called Indian BitClout, right? So it's more about getting the Indian community together and stuff. So if something like that also, you need to make sure that you understand the value being created, what is the value being created, and how does that translate into growth of the coin and stuff like that, and then decide how much you want to invest in it. And then obviously if there's a white paper or something, understand how the coin is going to grow, especially if you have not gotten early, which is probably the case in 90% of your investments. Understand how that coin is going to grow, because once it stabilizes at a certain level, it will grow only based on one of these 3-4 options, right? Either once NFTs come in, or they have some kind of strategy of reinvesting founder rewards, or there's some quality content or there's some quality value being created by that project, which in turn is bringing in more users, and that in turn will lead to the coin's growth, right? Because as more users come in, they'll maybe put in $10, $20 and it'll keep growing. So those are some of the do's. And then there's a coin launch, and then there's no clear date announced for the product launch. That's something to be wary about. So while for example, we're working on a project called Creators. We've not yet announced the coin because they're saying that we are still not ready to launch the project or launch the website, right? So typically, at least my own thumb rule is, there's no point in launching a coin and then having a 2-month gap and then launching the project, right? So try and do the coin launches maybe a couple of weeks before, obviously the reasons for which you might want to do it before that, but typically my rule is make sure that the product is, at least a beta version is launched. And if there's a project which is very similar to another one, almost like a copycat version of another project, in the end, I think you just need to be more wary. I'm not saying copycat projects are not good. You can always go ahead and improve on projects. For example, I think there were different search projects, search engine related projects on BitClout, and then Cloudavista came in and delivered significant value, right? So you can actually copy and do better on other projects, but then it's definitely something to be wary about, especially if the team is not a team that's already delivered value in the past. And the other thing I typically check is, how many projects is the founder working on, right? Especially if these are large projects, you really can't be executing. If these are, one-off tools that are built in a week and 2 weeks and stuff, it's okay. But if it is a large project that requires ongoing commitment, you don't want a project with one developer working on, 5 different projects and stuff, because in the end, you will probably not be able to focus enough. So I think that's pretty much quickly what I wanted to cover. I'll probably walk you through a few tools that I typically use. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can